Let's get this into. So, this is a review of the Even Stevens movie from 2003, following up and concluding, I believe, unless there's more, Even Stevens content, but it, I think, concluded the 3-season run of the TV show. And people know Even Stevens because it was popular, for one, but for two, this is where Shia LaBeouf got his big break. Aw, chips. Duck sucks for real. Oh, yeah, we'll get into that. Don't worry. Used to be wet, that goes straight. Okay. But yeah, this movie, though, the Even Stevens movie, let's look at the Rotten Tomatoes. So, going into this movie, I didn't really know. Like, I had seen the show, but it's been a minute. I watched it when I was a little kid. So, I didn't really remember a lot of, like, the side character or the dynamics of the characters, or the characteristics of the characters. So some of the things I was a little confused by, but for the most part, it was still made enough sense for me to watch it and even laugh at most of the jokes. Some of the jokes, not so much, but it made me laugh more than the Mighty Ducks 2, which we will get to. The Even Stevens movie on Rotten Tomatoes, 50%. So that's out of 6 reviews. So it's 3 and 3, hey? 3 people liked it, 3 people didn't like it. Half and half. And then the audience gave it 52%. So pretty similar ratings from the audience score on the tomato meter. I mean, I can see why you would go either way for this. Like, it's not great, but it is kind of enjoyable. Half and half. That makes sense enough to me. Let's look at some of these reviews. We can maybe even read all of them because there's only 6. This is from Hal Bodeker. The Even Stevens movie could make you think of Gilligan's Island. It's not great television, but fans should be pleased. And that's a bad review. But yeah, fans should be pleased, exactly. So I kind of agree with that, I guess. Inflates the inexplicably popular TV series into a movie in which the whole obnoxious family thinks it's going on a prepaid holiday to a Pacific island. So that basically sounds like they really didn't like it. Or the show. It sounds like from that review anyway. Nonsense is exactly what Stevens is good at, and the movie never forgets that. Yeah, those are some of the best laughs, is when it's being silly. Like, there's a balloon full of spaghetti that explodes. I thought that was funny. Like, I don't think it's undeniable that spaghetti exploding everywhere on people. That's funny. That's like classic comedy. Tween-friendly movie based on hit Disney comedy. That's all this good review is. It just like says what it is. It is a tween-friendly movie based on a hit Disney comedy. Good job, Kelly Kessler. Great review. 3 out of 5. I actually found this movie to be quite a hoot, is one of the good reviews. Alright, Kevin Carr, good job. For hardcore fans of the series only. They didn't like it, so they weren't a hardcore fan of the series. So those are all the ratings, or the critics' ratings anyway, reviews. On Rotten Tomatoes of the Even Stevens movie, let's look at what it got on IMDb. Has anyone seen this also? If anyone wants to talk about it with me, if anyone's watched it, pop in the Discord and pop into the movie chat, or the movie talk. I forget what it's called, but I think it's the movie talk. And we can talk about this movie, but no worries if not. But yeah, let's look at the IMDb page. So 6.2 out of 10. Yeah, I'd probably give it something around there. Maybe even a little lower. We'll see when I get to the rating part, though. I'm not sure what I'm going to give it yet. Shia LaBeouf, obviously, he's in it. He's the main character. I'm looking at the cast now. Is there anyone? Ren Stevens, Christy Carlson Romano, I think best known for this show and this movie, I guess, too. So Stephen Anthony Lawrence plays Beans. Beans is, even though this whole show is a comedy, he is very much, he's sort of like the comic relief, even though it's a comedy. You know, the silly character, he's always eating like bacon and farting and stuff. That's like his thing. And he's in other shit. I think he's in the movie Kicking and Screaming. Let's just click on him, on Beans's, but I want to say discography, but I mean his biography. Yeah, I knew he was in Kicking and Screaming. He's in Cheaper by the Dozen. Oh, he's in Bubble Boy, which I think is underrated. And The Cat in the Hat. He's the boy in The Cat in the Hat, of course. Let's look more at the IMDb page. More of the cast here. Nobody really super notable other than Shia LaBeouf. So we'll just go down. So let's talk about the basic plot of this movie. So, Stevens, the main guy, Shia LaBeouf, he is the brother of this Ren. So they have the classic sibling dynamic where they're always, mainly he seems to be tormenting her, but they do not like each other. That's, I think, a part of this show as well. I'm sure of it. But everyone wants to go on this vacation that they are, for some reason, mysteriously offered. We find out later that they have been offered this vacation because it's a reality show where they put them on, this whole family, and basically prank them and torment them the whole time. Definitely social commentary on reality TV, which I didn't mind, and I thought it was done all right. And we'll get into more of the thick of it when I get to the notes. But yeah, that's the basic plot. They go on this island, and they're getting tormented by a reality show. Yeah, they think that they've won this trip. Tim Meadows claims to be representing this island that is trying to get tourists to come, and they picked this family because one of them used to work at a prominent law firm, but he doesn't right now, so that doesn't make sense. But it does make sense when you find out that it's all actually for a reality show. But the main reason they're like, your wife is a state senator, so she is a big enough celebrity that people will see this and they'll want to come to the island. And I don't buy that for a second. Like, she's a state senator. No way is that, like, you didn't even try to get George Clooney or a regular senator, not even like a state senator, not even a regular senator. Anyway, we get a little bit off topic, but that's the point. They're on this island getting tormented by this reality show, sort of like prank. It's like a prank show. Let's go. Let's look and see. Usually there's there wouldn't be box office information because this was made for TV. So we aren't going to look at that because it's not there. And that's okay. I'm going to look at the notes now. Let's check out I'm going to bed. Adriana, goodbye. It's late here. Thank you. I like you so much. Bye, everyone. I like you so much, too. I appreciate you hanging out. I'm just going to quickly blow my nose. It's itchy. A classic movie review thing to happen. Stevie knows. This happens almost every time, somehow. But yeah, good night. You're so welcome. Thank you for being here. All right. So let's get into the notes of the Even Stevens movie. I have a few. The Even Stevens movie notes. The opening bit is weird, but I kind of liked it. So they have it's sort of like an opening sketch that this movie starts with. We see a guy on a computer and he's like hacking into a mainframe, as is the style of early 2000s movies, and you're like, what is he hacking into? What's he trying to get into? And we find out he's hacking into the Even Stevens movie so he can watch the Even Stevens movie. It was kind of weird, but it worked well enough for me. It was fine. Spaghetti instead of confetti. So I talked about the balloon full of spaghetti, and it explodes over the graduating class of Ren, Shia LaBeouf's sister in this, and the joke is that it was supposed to be filled with confetti. Shia LaBeouf told Beans to fill the balloon with confetti, but Beans filled it with spaghetti, and it exploded spaghetti, and I gotta say, it's kind of dumb, but it's funny, and I would have loved that as a kid, and I still like it now. So I like that. And remember, this was definitely made for kids. So, Shia LaBeouf should get punished for ruining his sister's speech. But this is one thing that I think must be, like, it's a part of the show. Like, he's probably always doing shit and they just never do anything about it, I'm assuming. Like I said, it's been a while since I've seen the show. But I do think that he should get punished more. They let him get away with fucking... Like, he ruins her graduation and then he's just like, well, I'm going to hang with the boys. And I think the parents should have been like, no, you fucking ruined your sister's graduation. You're going home and you're grounded or something. But that doesn't happen. Why doesn't the coach just go change and deal with the spaghetti? So there's a part where most of the spaghetti blows up on this one guy, the coach. I think it's the coach anyway. It's hard to tell because he's covered in spaghetti. But that's what we'll go with. And he's just like wandering around like, oh, there's spaghetti on me. And it's like, just fucking go hit the shower. Like, take it off. Like, figure it out. Like, deal with the spaghetti. Don't just be running around panicking, throwing spaghetti everywhere. Come on. Spaghetti like that. Of course you did, spaghetti. I should have known. It's been a minute since I've seen the show, so I maybe don't get everything. I've already said that, but yeah, that's true. Read the contract with like 7 exclamation marks. This movie, so many movies, and I don't even explain it, but this is what I think happened. So, when they think that they won this contest, Tim Meadows gives them this contract to sign, like, just sign here and you get this free vacation. And so they sign it and they don't read it, and that's my main note is always read the thing, but otherwise then the movie probably wouldn't exist. I'm assuming, and I think they should have explained this better, but they don't, because you need, when you film a TV show, reality show, or whatever show, you need all the actors or who's in the show to sign a release form so that they are legally in the movie or in the TV show in this case. And that's what I think that was. I think that they signed a release form. And that would make sense. But it would have been cool if they explained that later, but they didn't. So I'm assuming that's how it worked. It's sort of a nitpick, but yeah, I thought that was a little bit weird. Read the contract is my main note on that. You see why Shia got famous from this movie. I mean, from this show. He's very good in it. Like, you can tell he's really acting. He's very believable in the role of this kid that just wants to sort of laze around and hang out. And he makes these crazy contraptions, which is kind of crazy, but it's fun for the show, I'm sure, and it was fun for this movie. He made this chair that has all these like robotic arms and shit come out of it. It's sort of like a live-action cartoon in some aspects, and that was one of them. And yeah, I kind of like that. But yeah, Shia's, like, you can see why he blew up from this show. This was his big break. You can see why he became famous after this and started doing shit like Holes, and then like the Transformers movies and all that. And then of course there's all the scandals. He did some crazy shit. We're not going to get into that. If you want to look at all the shit Shia LaBeouf has done, feel free, but I'm not getting into that right now. It would take too long. that would be its own video, I think. My next note is just the word beans, all caps. And I did that note because there's one point the dad, Shia LaBeouf and Ren's dad, he at one point, I forget even what happens to make him angry, but it's something that Beans did, and he wakes up and he's just like, Beans! And he's like shaking his fists in the air, disgracing Beans' name, being like, Beans! And I just liked that, so I put a note for that. And my next note is fart. To be fair, there's like 3 fart jokes in this movie. And they're all just sort of, the joke is just, he farted, and those are my least favorite type of fart jokes, but this is a made-for-TV movie from 2003, so I'll maybe let it slide a little bit. You know, it's not the whole movie, it's just a few quick jokes, and it's gone. And if you call them jokes, like it's just people farting. But, specifically Beans is the one doing the farting, if you were wondering. But wouldn't they ask him why the supply plane isn't flying them home. So, yes, they get put through all this hell on this reality show, the Stevens family, and they are told, like, at this point they want to go home, right, as you would. But Tim Meadows, who is concocting this whole show and this plan, and he's trying to torment them for TV, he has a plane come and drop them supplies, but it's just really a ploy to make them more angry at each other, because both of these crates are empty, and both sides of the family, there's 6 people, and the 3 on each side of the family or whatever, they both get into these different crates and like, oh, they stole our food, they stole it. So they think that they stole each other's food, when really it's just Tim Meadows being the bad guy. But my point is, they see these planes, and at one point, to be fair, the mom is like, hey, you said there wouldn't be a plane for a little bit, why can't we get on that plane and go home? And he's like, oh, it's just a supply plane. And to me, I would have been like, but why can't the supply plane fucking come get us? And they don't ask that question. It's like, they just accept, like, oh, it's a supply plane, so I guess it can't pick up people, it can only pick up chips or whatever. It's like, no, doesn't make sense. I would have been more angry. As soon as I saw a plane, I would be like, fucking get us out of here, Tim Meadows. Like, what the hell? So, I don't think that's realistic, but, you know. A little bit of a nitpick still, though. Let's go. Wouldn't Ren be wondering why the chief is talking to her tribe if the tribe is shunning her? So, this tribe on this island, it's a part of the prank, but the island, they're shunning everybody. And by everybody, I mean the Stevens family, because Shia LaBeouf fucks everything up and accidentally pulls a lever and knocks down a building. So they're now shunned and no one's talking to them. But at one point, all these actors that are in the tribe that are part of the show, they have to sort of stop Ren from finding out what's going on. So they have to talk to her and explain stuff, but it doesn't make sense because they're shunning her. So wouldn't she be like, hey, aren't you supposed to be shunning me? Doesn't make any sense. Think about it. But to a certain extent, I get why they did it. And maybe that's sort of the point. Is like, it's kind of funny that they're breaking the shun. But I still think that Ren is smart and she would have figured that out. So, still a negative note against it, but this movie isn't terrible. I didn't hate it. It's not excellent. Disney Channel movie logic, exactly. Hollow Oaks, you get it. Careful letting that fart slide. Yeah, I know what you mean. Alright. How does Alan get out of the trailer? So, Alan is one of the characters who is friends with Shia LaBeouf, and he is the one who set them up, the whole family up on this show, so he's to blame for the plot of the movie and why the family is so miserable. But he comes back and he tries to save them and tell them what's going on. But then Tim Meadows finds him and is like, get in this dressing room. We're going to lock you in the dressing room. And then he finds all these different costumes. So he puts on the costumes to blend in with the rest of the actors. But they don't explain how he gets out of there. Like, he's locked in there. They show him, like, pulling on the knob. But then he just can't get out. And they just show him out of there later. We don't see how he got out. I would have liked to see how he broke out of the change room / trailer or whatever. But they do not show you. I didn't like that. Alright. It has to end with a cheesy pop rock song. Of course it does. It's a Disney Channel movie. That's all my note is for it. It wasn't even necessarily bad. I kind of liked it. Ren singing it. All the characters are like playing different instruments. I think fucking Beans is on the bass. Shia LaBeouf is playing drums. And the song wasn't that bad. I kind of liked it for that sort of, contrived poppy Disney music kind of feel. I couldn't help but think it was kind of catchy. Sort of an abrupt end to the song / movie. So they sort of like fade out on the last word of the song and then fade to black, and it just feels a little abrupt, and it just felt like it's sort of like, boom, end the movie. We don't have any more money. Stop it now. It's sort of what it felt like. But let's see. Oh yeah, Tim Meadows is one of my notes. He's in it. Like I said, he's very good. I love Tim Meadows so much. And the special effects are very 2003 TV movie. So it's some very bad CGI. Like I said, the Shia LaBeouf accidentally pulls a lever and makes this whole building collapse, but it's just done in the worst CGI. There's a few moments where it's like, ooh, I forgot I was watching a TV movie, but when you see those effects, you're like, oh yeah, I'm watching a TV movie. Because these effects are terrible. But, you know, again, I let that slide too because it is a TV movie. Anyways, I think... Oh, should Shia be getting punished? So, I sort of talked on this, but I'll talk a little bit more on it. Shia LaBeouf, his character is sort of like a brat, right? And maybe I think that's sort of the point, is that he gets away with all this shit. He is a spoiled kid. I think that's part of it. So I think I've decided that it's fine. That part of it is fine, I think. Because that's part of his character, and that's a part of the way this family works. So I guess it makes enough sense. But yes, he should be getting punished. He's fucking a dick. He ruined Ren's graduation. He destroyed a building by pulling a lever. He did a bunch of shit. So he should be getting punished, but I get why he's not. Anyway, I think that's the end of my notes on this particular movie. We got another movie to review. It's not over yet. But let's rate this one, shall we? So, the Even Stevens movie from 2003. I went in not really knowing what to expect, and like I said, I watched it after the Mighty Ducks 2, so I was kind of just done with that movie, and I think anything else would have made me happier, and this made me happier because it was definitely more tolerable for me. It didn't make me as angry. So yeah, I kind of like this movie, but I can't lie, it's not amazing. So let's give it a... Let's give it a 6. Just a 6. I think that's fair. It's not amazing. It's not going to win any prizes, but it's not bad, and it made me laugh more than I thought it would. And Shia LaBeouf is a good actor, say what you will about him. And like I said, I'm not getting into the scandals of him, but feel free to Google him if you want to. But yeah, this movie, not bad, not great. Okay. The Even Stevens movie, 6 out of 10. Ducks.